If a little green is good, more is even better. Now, back to Green is Good with John Shigarian and Mike Brady.
Welcome back to Green is Good, and we're so honored today to have Michelle Price on. Michelle is the manager of the Worldwide Environmental Strategic Marketing, Imaging, and Printing Group at the great Hewlett-Packard Company. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, Mike, we had a little chance to chat with Michelle before we came on air, and we were blown away. She's not only holds that huge title at Hewlett-Packard, which we know has a lot of gravitas and a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility, but she's also a wife, mother, and currently an author writing a book called The 42 Rules of Green Marketing, which she's promised already to come back on the show later this year and talk about that great book that she's writing.
Yes, thank you. Looking forward to it.
Michelle, thanks again. You represent truly a great American brand that's done so much, to expand our influence around the world and our brand awareness. And we're so thankful for the time that you have today. But Hewlett-Packard is one of those great companies. In the first half of our show, we were talking about a new online company that's helping companies get green, but way before the green revolution ever took hold here in the United States. Hewlett-Packard was truly not only talking a great green talk, but walking a great green walk. Share a little bit about what's been going on at Hewlett-Packard and what you do there.
Sure. So from an HP perspective, HP's been focusing on environmental sustainability and responsibility for more than 50 years.
Wow.
It dates back to really the founders of the company and the type of people that Bill and Dave were. But also in 1957, they actually made a commitment, an external commitment, where they established a global corporate citizenship objective focused on the environment. This was something that was really important to Bill and Dave and continues through the DNA of the company today. A couple of interesting dates for you. It was in 1987 that Hewlett-Packard was one of the first companies in the IT industry to establish a recycling program. And it was in 1991 that we formalized our Design for Environment program, where we have product stewards on every design team across the company. And that's something that I'm really proud of, because every product that is designed from Hewlett-Packard has been thoroughly vetted by these environmental professional stewards. And, the focus has been around reducing the environmental impact of not just Hewlett-Packard, what we do ourselves, and we call that our house, but what we're doing for our customers in their house and delivering products that help them reduce their energy, save money, and, all kinds of great ways to help customers reduce their environmental impact. And it's been a focus of the company for a really long time.
So wait a second, Michelle. Way before it was ever cool or mandated to recycle here in the United States, Hewlett-Packard in 87 started recycling?
Absolutely. And today we recycle. We have recycling capabilities in more than 50 countries around the world.
Wow.
We take our own IT equipment back, as well as our competitors' IT equipment, and we recycle our own original HP print cartridges as well.
Wow. So, and then on the design side, which so many companies now are playing catch-up with their electronics, you said in 1991, you guys HP started developing and designing their products to be more sustainably created and built so they could be recycled easier and have less impact on the environment. Absolutely.
And actually, interestingly enough, last week, we just introduced a new LaserJet product. It's called the HP LaserJet Pro P1102. And that product actually has a great claim. It's actually the world's most energy-efficient laser printer on the planet.
Wow. That's amazing. Hey, Michelle, we talk about people, planet, and profits here, and we want to go back to you as a person. How did you get into this position at HP? You've been there now approximately 12 years. How did you evolve into this position? Did you grow up a tree hugger? Were you inspired in college, or did this evolve just naturally at HP? How did this happen?
I did not grow up a tree hugger, but I love trees. I'm probably pretty close to a tree hugger now.
Okay.
And for me personally, I actually have been in this role for about 3 years.
Okay.
And it started with me being on the strategic marketing team. And there was an opportunity, and I jumped on it where I was able to represent marketing in defining the environmental leadership strategy for the Imaging and Printing Group. And so what's interesting is, as I talked about, we have a history and legacy of environmental and social responsibility, but we've been very quiet about it. And so I actually had an opportunity to step in and figure out and frame up how is it that HP should be going out, what is our marketing strategy and our go-to-market plans, and how do we take this amazing story and history and legacy and products and pull it together in such a way so that it resonates with customers and they really begin to understand our brand and what HP is delivering and how we're delivering real products, tangible products, to help that customer reduce their environmental impact as well as saving money.
So this was 3 years ago, you're saying?
Yes, and so I've been in this role for about 3 years. Now, me personally, I mentioned that I didn't grow up a tree hugger.
Right.
I'm a new convert, if you will.
That's okay.
I think I heard an interesting statistic a number of years ago that said the number one driver of a person going green is having a child. Oh. And that's true for me. That's absolutely true for me. And I've recycled for years, but after having a child, I began to realize that the choices I make not only affect me, but they affect my child and my children's children.
That's right.
And so I really, as a consumer, really make a lot more conscious decisions. I buy organic every single time that I'm able. If there's an organic choice, I will choose that organic product or that organic food. When I'm purchasing products, I really consider what I'm buying and how it impacts my family as well as the environment. And I want to buy from companies that I feel good about buying from, that these are good environmental and social responsible companies that are considering my health and the environment. And that's why I'm proud to work for a company like HP, because I know that HP is an amazing social and environmental responsible company and has proven that through our history and legacy.
And we're going to go back and talk about HP's green DNA in a little while, but I want to go back to this legacy issue that you well point out about the domino effect of the decisions you make. So let's go. You said you had a son 5 years ago, and that helped inspire you to make more green decisions. What inspired you to write the book?
What inspired me to write the book? It's interesting. When I first started in my environmental marketing role, and really, I think more getting me farther along my path of my environmental journey.
Sure.
But from a marketing perspective, I was looking for the secret sauce. So the secret sauce of trying to figure out, how do I market green? What does it mean? How do we talk to customers, and how does HP position our story? Well, what I came to realize is that there's not a secret sauce. It's just marketing. And in fact, one of the rules in the book is titled "Green Marketing is Still Marketing." And, I went down this interesting journey, and I began thinking, I want to document this, everything that I've learned. I've learned a tremendous amount from a lot of industry experts. I've read lots of their blogs. I've met them in person. And I just really wanted to share with others that are beginning their journey or are already along their journey some of the learnings and insights that I've learned from other people.
So you're the person then responsible for taking HP's offline amazing green DNA and bringing it into the Facebook, Twitter world that we now exist in?
Well, so I do. I'm out there in Twitter, and, I can't take credit for all of the great work. But, yes, ultimately, my role is to define the environmental marketing strategy for the Imaging and Printing Group. And we have lots of great people that are in the social media world who are out there on Facebook and Twittering on the environment.
Let's talk about, then, the green big part of it. Let's talk about the green DNA at HP's, their corporate culture. Explain about what goes on both on campus and off campus that shows the great, not only does HP talk a great green talk, but walks a great green walk. Explain that culture and that DNA.
Well, from an internal perspective,
Sure.
HP does a really good job of educating employees on different environmental topics. And so I'm based in Vancouver, Washington, for example, and during Earth Week, we had a series of events happening where there was some sessions on greening your work area, as well as recycling. And then they also had a local vendor fair where local companies come in and show off their green products and ideas. And then we also had an HP biker commuter contest as well as rally, and then even bike tune-ups. And, it's interesting, HP really does engage with the employees from an environmental perspective. Another example is they have environmental series where you can actually sign up to take a class. And a few years ago, I took a class, Healthy Baby, Healthy Planet. And each of the different topics are focused on the environment. And then also HP has HP Eco Solutions Advocates. And these are people that are interested in learning more about our environmental legacy, who want to just understand more about what HP is doing, and also a great training ground for training employees who may not be in an environmental role, but are interested in learning more about the environmental topic and potentially representing externally HP at events or being able to talk with customers.
So it must be easier to be green in such a green and wonderful city like Vancouver.
It is a great city to be green, and I'm actually Vancouver, Washington, which is right across the bridge from Portland, Oregon. So, yeah, it really is, being in the Pacific Northwest, really easy. They make it easy here to be green.
Right. And so how does HP share best green practices among all the campuses of HPs around the world? How does that interchanging of ideas and inspiration work?
Well, we have in Vancouver and at each of our sites, we have an employee network. And those employee networks, there's a person who represents the Vancouver Employee Network, for example, with all of the other sites. And then also on our internal website, you can go out and find out any information about any of the other campuses. So Boise, Idaho, for example, or Palo Alto, California, or Bolbingen, Germany. So there's lots of sharing where you have representatives from each of those sites that share best practices across the groups.
How about with your consumers? How do you work back and forth the information of their desire for more environmentally responsible products, and also, as you well put, what didn't exist 3 years ago or so when you started this, and your messaging of how environmentally responsible HP really is and has been? How does that interchange of ideas work, and how do you get that feedback from the consumers at large and then share back with them what you're really doing?
We know that consumers want to hear about our environmental, social, responsible story.
Okay.
It gets a bit overwhelming when you start talking to consumers because there's so many different companies out there kind of shouting green messages, and it's easy to not really understand what are the right ones and what are ones that may be a little misleading.
Great point.
And what we know is that consumers want to make the right choice. They want to do the right thing, but you also have to make it really simple for these customers. If you make it really hard or complicated, we're all human, creatures of habit. We're going to be less apt to do something that's difficult and complex. We already have way too many competing priorities. And so we try to make it really easy for customers to go green. And one of the ways that we help customers understand the environmental attributes of a particular product is through the HP Eco Highlights label. And it's a label we introduced about 2 years ago. And it appears on web pages, it appears on packaging, it's product specific, and it tells you the environmental attributes of that specific product that you're purchasing.
Wow. So on any HP product now, they can see this eco label?
It's not on every product.
Right.
You actually have to qualify for it.
Okay.
And we have it on consumer products, SMB products, and enterprise products across the company in our server business, our services business, our PC business, as well as our printing business.
Right.
But it's a label that the products actually have to qualify to achieve, to receive that label, and then that product team can actually promote it.
Michelle, and how do you keep your ear to the ground? What are the consumers asking for in terms of environmental responsibility now? What's the feedback you're getting as to what their wants and needs are, or what they think is the most important thing to them?
customers really, have to go back to easy. They want it to be easy.
Okay.
And what we hear a lot is that consumers want to make the right choice, but all things considered equal, environment is going to be the tiebreaker.
Oh.
So price and quality and performance are the number one purchase drivers.
That's fascinating.
Environment is behind those. It's still important, but again, it has to be a tiebreaker.
Well, it's amazing, Michelle, because when you were talking about just rolling out recently the Pro P1102, I looked at that, and you talk about making it easy for the consumer. That is simply a USB cable that gets plugged in from your notebook, your netbook, or your desktop. No installation CD required, and the consumer can start printing in as little as 2 minutes. And now I'm looking at your Eco Highlight site, talking about the HP DeskJet 2660, less waste. It's created from 50% recycled plastic.
Wow.
Even the packaging, John, you're going to love this.
100%
recyclable. And the original HP 60 cartridge bodies contain at least 50% of recycled plastic. Michelle, John, that is really walking the walk.
That's
we
walking
really
the walk.
have an amazing recycle plastic program happening. So, as you mentioned, that printer is made from 50% recycled plastic. We've introduced a number of printers that have recycled plastics in them, and then that cartridge that you talked about, the HP 60 cartridge, that's actually made from the closed-loop recycling process.
Wow.
And what we do is we take original HP supplies that are empty, return to HP through the HP Planet Partners program, and we take that cartridge and we recycle it. And we actually shred it, and then we separate the pieces and parts, and then we take the plastic and we add recycled water bottles. And we mold that into new original HP supplies. And HP has shipped over 555 million inkjet cartridges made from that closed-loop recycling process.
Wow, that is amazing. So HP is leading the way with regards to reuse and recycling.
Absolutely. I'm really proud of that closed-loop recycling process, because that's something that when you're talking about using recycled plastics, for example, you can't just take recycled plastics and say, I'm going to make a printer out of this. You actually, those printers have to pass fire, health, and safety standards, as well as the high-quality standards that customers expect of HP.
That's right.
And that was something that the engineering team worked on. It was over 5 years. I mean, it took a lot of engineering R&D. And same with our inkjet cartridges. You're talking about pretty small cartridges that really have to perform to the quality and standards of HP. And to be able to take plastic, and a lot of times what happens with plastic when you recycle it, you actually downcycle it. So you take it from something and then you actually take it down. What we were able to do is take a product and make the same product, and that's why you can call it closed loop.
That's fascinating, Michelle, because Mike and I have had Alcoa on the show as we have other leading brands, and they talk about the infinite recycling ability of aluminum and other metals. But you're so right, plastic is much more difficult to work with, so that really must have taken huge commitment and huge research and development to make that work.
It did. It was really smart people. We're talking PhD environmental scientists, chemists, some of our brightest minds at HP to work on that process to make it come to fruition.
Hey, Michelle, we have about 4 minutes left, and we want to ask you for a crystal ball on HP. Obviously, you shared with us already the amazing facts that since 57, 87, and 91, you've been leading the way and been really the leading brand when it comes to design and recycling. And now that we know the big television companies are coming out with 3D televisions, and Apple's coming out with iPad, and now they're coming out with the next generation in the months to come. Give our listeners a little crystal ball and what's in store for HP in terms of futuristic products and the sustainability movement.
Well, you'll definitely continue to see HP focusing on developing products and bringing products to market. So the example earlier was the DeskJet D2600. That product focused on the recycled content of the printer, the cartridge, the packaging. And there was a lot of aspects of that printer, and you can continue to expect to see from HP that same type of focus where we look at our products and say, how can we take more energy out of them? How can we make them more sustainable? A couple of examples are that we have a goal to reduce the energy efficiency of the printing, actually of all HP products, by 40% compared to a 2005 baseline.
Wow.
And that's by 2011.
Right.
And then we also announced a goal around having, by the end of 2011, using over 100 million pounds of recycled plastic. And so what you're seeing is real commitment to continue to raise the bar upon ourselves and to continue to challenge our product development teams in a very positive way to continue raising that bar. And we also have announced some goals around our paper. So we have a paper policy, and it refers to the papers that we buy to print collateral for trade shows, an example, the papers that we use internally, and as well as the papers that we sell to our customers. And we have a goal to also, as part of that, have 40% of our paper FSC certified.
Wow. So how about, and now we have 2 minutes left, how about a pearl of wisdom or two for our listeners out there, our young listeners who want to become the next Michelle Price? What's the pathway to become you at a small company or a large company? Because there's a lot of people out there that want to reinvent themselves and become part of the green revolution, become part of the solution instead of being on the outside of this great opportunity.
I think that you can impact what your company is doing no matter where you are in the organization and no matter who you are. I mean, I think you find an area of passion and you just grab onto it. And if you're at it, whether it's large or small company, just figuring out what is it that you can bring to the table. So, for example, if your company is not doing anything to reduce your own environmental impact, think of ways that you actually can help the company reduce impact. Maybe you go out and build a business case for your company to begin recycling aluminum cans. Maybe it's as simple as saying that we want to be able to reduce our environmental impact by utilizing our lighting more efficiently and putting in sensors in our conference rooms. Go out and work with the right people. Do some little easy business case studies to prove how you can reduce your environmental impact. I mean, I think I don't know that you have to have just figure out what your passion is and your area of expertise, and then overlay the green lens on top of that and figure out what it is that you can do to help your company. And again, I don't think it matters where you are within the organization.
Gotcha. Well, that is great news. And like we asked you earlier, we want you to come back at another date and talk some more on these issues and all your great green marketing ideas. We want our listeners out there, like Michelle said, it's a tiebreaker. So on cost and quality, look at HP and all the great things they're doing with regards to environmental responsibility and sustainability. And we just want to thank you again, Michelle, for coming on. We know you're so busy. You were tremendously informational today. You were also wonderfully inspirational. And you, Michelle Price, are living proof that green is good.